What happens when the ultimate K-pop comeback is derailed? Not by, like, a dating scandal or a contract dispute, but by a $34 bag of IV fluid in the back of a parked car.
Oh, it's wild. I mean, the teasers dropped, and then just the fandom went completely silent.
Right. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was just turned upside down. A headline no one saw coming, which was, "Police summoned them. The SHINee scandal no one expected."
Yeah, the shockwave through the fandom was, it was honestly paralyzing. We are talking about absolute K-pop royalty here.
Exactly. Veterans of the Hallyu Wave who have spent, what, over a decade building this immaculate reputation.
Right. So to suddenly see their names trending, not for a massive music video release, but tied to a criminal police investigation, I mean, it felt like all the air was sucked out of the room.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu Wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, today we are jumping into something incredibly heavy.
Yeah, our mission for today's deep dive is to unpack the sources behind this injection anti-scandal that's rocking SHINee right now. We're breaking down the official agency statements, the hidden medical underground of South Korea, and the really intense fan backlash that came right after.
Because this story, it starts with that terrifying police summons, but it reveals so much about the intense, honestly brutal pressures of the idol industry.
It really does.
Yeah.
So let's get into the timeline. Between June and July, the Gangnam police station in Seoul summoned a string of really high-profile celebrities as suspects in an illegal medical probe.
Which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah, the list included Chinese Key and One. And they also questioned broadcaster Hyun-moo and the massive YouTuber smallmouth Haetnim.
And like, as a stan, that is just the ultimate nightmare scenario, right? You want an all kill on the charts.
Yeah.
You want to see your bias sweeping the weekly music shows, dominating the year-end awards. You definitely do not want them dominating the primetime news cycle for an underground medical investigation.
Oh, for sure.
It's devastating because it immediately puts a hard stop on everything. The promotions, the appearances, it all just vanishes.
Yeah, and at the center of this probe is a figure identified in the press by the surname Lee, who the media has heavily dubbed the injection auntie.
That nickname alone is just wow.
Right. According to police reports and the Korea Times, Mrs. Lee is an unlicensed practitioner accused of, well, administering IV drips and prescribing antidepressants far outside of any actual clinical setting.
Oh, yeah. We are talking about procedures happening in private offices.
Right. And for anyone listening who isn't familiar, an office stall is this very common type of building in South Korea that serves a dual purpose. It's commercial office spaces mixed with residential apartments.
Highly private. Exactly. Very discreet and apparently perfect for off-the-books businesses. The police even reported she was administering these treatments literally inside vehicles.
In a parked car. I mean, wow. The authorities had actually barred her from leaving the country late last year, and they raided her residence.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, the investigation gained major public attention when comedian Park Na-rae was summoned back in May. And from there, the net just kept getting cast wider, catching these massive idols in its wake.
Right. But, you know, before we even get into why an idol is getting an IV in a parked car, I'm stuck on something.
What's that?
Like, how does an unlicensed auntie even procure prescription antidepressants and professional IV drips in the first place? I mean, the math doesn't add up for me. Is there a black market for this?
That is the exact crucial question, and it points directly to this massive loophole called medical delegation, which we'll actually look at with some clinical data in a minute.
Okay.
But basically, many of these unlicensed practitioners aren't operating in a vacuum. They're often quietly attached to fully licensed clinics.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, the doctors running these clinics, they either turn a blind eye or they actively participate, funneling supplies to people like Miss Lee who act as, like, mobile, off-the-books concierge services.
Wow.
All for high-paying, high-profile clients who demand absolute secrecy.
So it's kind of like calling an Uber, only to find out the driver has no license. But they've been driving VIPs around your neighborhood for years.
Exactly.
If your bias was caught up in this, you have to ask yourself, would you see them as a victim of a scam or, you know, a willing accomplice.
Right. And that's not even the wildest part of this controversy. Wait till you hear what a massive academic study uncovered about the dark, profit-driven underbelly of K-wellness.
Oh, we are definitely getting to that. But first, let's look at how the entertainment agencies desperately tried to put out this fire.
Yeah, the crisis management playbook.
Right. Griffin Entertainment, representing Onew, came out swinging with a defense built on, well, plausible deniability. They stated that Onew believed he was receiving legitimate skincare treatment from a medical professional.
And that she was affiliated with a clinic he was introduced to by an acquaintance. They heavily emphasized there was no circumstance that would lead him to suspect she didn't have a medical license.
And SM Entertainment released a really similar statement for Ki. They claimed that on an acquaintance's recommendation, Ki visited a hospital in Gangnam where Mrs. Lee worked, and she was introduced to him as a doctor.
Right.
When visiting the hospital became difficult because of his grueling schedule, he received medical care at home. SM stated Ki had no idea she wasn't licensed.
Well, the fallout was immediate, regardless of the defense. SM announced Ki would be stepping down from his currently scheduled activities.
Yeah, and in the K-pop world, a hiatus is a terrifying word. Ki isn't just an idol, he is a massive television personality.
Oh, completely.
He had to step down from beloved variety shows where he was a total staple, like I Live Alone and Amazing Saturday. But what is truly wild about how this all unraveled is the sheer forensic power of the fandom.
The internet sleuths.
They are unmatched. Long before the official agency statements even dropped, Knetz, the domestic Korean netizens, were already putting the pieces together.
Wait, how did they figure it out?
Well, the rumors about Ki gained traction simply because fans spotted a photo of a dog on Mrs. Lee's public Instagram account.
You're kidding. A dog.
A dog. They cross-referenced the breed, the free pattern, and the background, and realized it looked exactly like Ki's pet. That single, tiny visual breadcrumb set the entire internet ablaze.
That is insane. Hey, if you love staying updated on your favorites and getting the real facts behind the rumors, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead.
Yes, definitely subscribe.
Because, yeah, this single Instagram photo cracked open a much larger conversation. We have this JMIR public health surveillance study, alongside reporting from the Korea Jungang Daily, that completely changes the narrative.
It really does. It takes it from a celebrity gossip story to a systemic issue.
Exactly. This isn't just a few celebrities making shady back alley choices. This is a massive systemic blind spot in South Korean culture. The JMIR study utilized machine learning to analyze 1,532 criminal court decisions regarding unlicensed medical practices.
Wow, over 1,000 cases.
Yeah, between 2005 and 2023. And out of those cases, an overwhelming 91.6% were entirely profit-driven.
Which proves this is a highly lucrative, entrenched business model, not just like a few isolated scammers out there.
But the judicial response is what shocked me. Of these legal rulings, 62.9% ended in suspended sentences. Only 21% resulted in fines, and just 10.4% ended in actual imprisonment without suspension.
It's so lenient.
Right. I'm struggling to understand the leniency here. If someone is practicing medicine without a license, why is the punishment essentially a slap on the wrist?
Well, the study points out a glaring flaw in the legal framework. The Medical Service Act in South Korea doesn't explicitly define what constitutes a medical practice. So that ambiguity gives courts incredibly wide discretion. And culturally, as the Korea Jungang Daily points out, the line is already blurred for the average citizen.
Oh, for sure. Getting an IV drip is so common.
Exactly. Popping into a clinic for a 50,000 won, which is about $34 IV drip for a hangover or fatigue recovery or skin brightening, it's deeply normalized. It's treated more like a quick spa visit than a serious medical procedure.
And the JMIR study even noted that while 75% of the defendants in these unlicensed cases were ordinary people, over 15% were actual healthcare professionals, primarily licensed physicians.
Wow.
This lives back to my earlier question about the supply chain, right?
Yeah.
Doctors are actively participating in these illegal rings.
Which brings us to the ultimate paradox of the K-pop industry. This is kind of the crucial aha moment of the entire situation.
Break it down for us.
The Hallyu Wave demands absolute superhuman physical perfection. Idols are expected to maintain flawless visuals, execute grueling choreography, and attend 3 a.m. salon appointments for music show pre-recordings.
Right. All while operating on maybe 2 hours of sleep a night.
Exactly. The machine literally demands they push their bodies past the breaking point. You can't just go to a public hospital.
Okay, why not?
Because if an idol walks into a public hospital for fatigue, they risk being swarmed by sasaeng fans, the obsessive stalker fans, or having paparazzi leak photos claiming their health is failing.
Which tanks the group's stock value.
Yeah, absolutely. So when an acquaintance says, hey, this doctor from a Gangnam clinic can come straight to your office tell, give you a vitamin drip, and have you ready for your next fan sign without anyone seeing you, the idol says yes.
Wow. The industry has effectively criminalized the only coping mechanism it leaves room for.
Right.
The very same machine that demands zero sleep and flawless energy is the exact same machine that punishes idols for seeking the rapid, discreet medical shortcuts required to survive those demands.
It doesn't excuse breaking the law, obviously, but it heavily explains the mechanism of why this happens.
For sure. And later in the deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking social media post that turned this legal debate into a deeply emotional fandom war that nobody saw coming.
Oh, that post. The sequence of events here is vital because it highlights how quickly crisis management can just completely fall apart when raw human emotion enters the chat.
Let's trace the timeline clearly to build this up. On December 17th, SM Entertainment releases their official statement. Key issues his personal apology, confirming he's stepping down from his shows.
It's a standard, painful industry move. You bow your head, you take the hiatus, and you wait for the public anger to cool down.
Right. SM probably thought they had successfully put a lid on the immediate crisis. But grief doesn't care about public relations schedules.
No, it doesn't.
2 days later, on the morning of December 19th, Key posts an Instagram story tribute to his late bandmate, Jonghyun. Because December 18th marked the 8th anniversary of Jonghyun's tragic passing.
Yeah, and to fully grasp the weight of this, you have to understand the emotional sanctity of Jonghyun within the K-pop community. To Shawls, the SHINee fandom Jonghyun's memory is incredibly precious.
Of course.
The anniversary of his death is a deeply emotional day, observed with so much reverence and quiet mourning.
Well, the timing of this post, coming quite literally hours after a major scandal apology, acted like a match in a powder keg. Based on reporting from Off-Pop, this single Instagram story split the internet right down the middle,
creating this massive, highly toxic rift between Knetz and iFans, the international fan base.
Looking at the backlash objectively based on the sources, many domestic netizens were furious. Some accused Key of using his late friend as a PR shield to deflect attention away from the medical controversy.
Yeah, the timing was repeatedly called chilling in online forums.
One comment really captured the cynicism of this camp. It said, quote, "No one attacks someone for not posting a tribute on Instagram. The issue is doing this in the middle of a controversy."
You can clearly see the mechanics of that skepticism. In the highly orchestrated world of K-pop PR, fans are trained to scrutinize every single move.
Right.
Posting a deeply emotional tribute right when you are facing immense public heat. To a critical eye, it looks calculated.
It looks like an intentional attempt to garner sympathy.
Exactly, when the public expects you to be silently reflecting on a legal scandal.
But then you look at the completely opposite end of the spectrum, largely driven by international fans. Grief is not something you can neatly schedule around a police summon.
No. December 18th is December 18th. The date doesn't move just because you're on a hiatus.
Precisely. Fans defending him argue that this was his brother. They trained together, debuted together, and grew up together in one of the most intense environments on Earth.
And the counter-argument from them was fierce. Like, are we really going to police how and when a man is allowed to publicly mourn his best friend just because it conflicts with a PR playbook?
Well, I want to challenge that a bit. Does being a public figure mean your personal grief must be perfectly timed for public consumption? Or, looking at this structurally, did the agency fail him?
What do you mean?
Did SM Entertainment fail to protect their artist from a completely avoidable PR disaster by not managing his social media accounts during an active crisis?
That brings up a fascinating tension between agency control versus artist autonomy. Typically, when an idol goes on hiatus for a police investigation, their social media is put on absolute lockdown.
Passwords changed, managers take over.
Exactly. The fact that he was able to post on his story suggests one of two things. Either the agency gave him the green light, which would be a monumental miscalculation of public sentiment, or he went rogue because his fundamental need to honor his friend outweighed his fear of the backlash.
It's a profound collision of two completely different realities. On one side, the cold facts of a police summons and unlicensed IV drips. And on the other, the raw, unfiltered human emotion of losing someone you love.
It forces stans into an incredibly uncomfortable, almost impossible position. You want to support your bias in their genuine grief, but you also have to grapple with the reality of their involvement in a criminal investigation.
Right. Fandoms thrive on unity, but a situation this complex fractures the community instantly.
And, this entire deep dive leaves us with a much bigger, lingering issue to mull over. As the Hallyu Wave continues to expand its massive global footprint, the demands placed on these idols are only going to escalate.
Without a doubt.
The industry will continue to demand physical perfection and grueling, superhuman schedules. If that systemic pressure doesn't change, will the reliance on these quick-fix, off-the-books wellness injections only lead to more scandals?
That's a huge question.
It is. Where do we draw the line between a culture of extreme, mandated overwork and the personal, legal responsibility of the stars who are just trying to survive it?
It's a question that isn't going away anytime soon, especially as the spotlight on K-pop gets brighter on the global stage. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update.
Yes, please do.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu Wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.